Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, Congresswoman Dina Titus of CD1 here for the whole show. All new Nevada Newsmakers.
The 13th annual Nevada Newsmakers Goes to Washington is brought to you by Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you. NV Energy proudly serves Nevada, providing electricity to 2.4 million electric customers. The Nevada Mining Association, mining a better future for Nevada. Silver State Government Relations, we know Nevada, so you don't have to. And University Medical Center of Southern Nevada, offering the highest level of care in Nevada.
Hit the road in style during the $150,000 Roads to Riches giveaways at Tamarack Casino. Win up to $5,000 every week and a top prize of a 2026 Chevy Traverse or $40,000 in cash. It's the $150,000 Roads to Riches giveaways at Tamarack Casino.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
Save money and take transit. Did you know you can ride the bus all day for less than what it would cost you for a gallon of gas? Plan your trip now by going to rtcwashoe.com.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we are always pleased to welcome back to the program the person who has been on the show the most times in the history of the program, Congresswoman Dina Titus of CD1. Pleasure to have you back on the program.
Well, thank you. This is like getting to say I chaired Saturday Night Live so many times. People brag about that. I brag about you, Sam.
Well, I appreciate that. Got a couple of serious issues to jump into right away. You're on the Foreign Affairs Committee. Your thoughts on the Israeli-Gaza situation?
Well, I think it's extremely fragile, and every day something new comes along to confirm that. You know, the president said the easy part was after they got the hostages home, but I think he's got that backwards. It's really hard to turn a temporary ceasefire into a permanent peace, and also then to rebuild the country. And both sides will respond to any violation of what they see as the ceasefire with very strong efforts. And you are seeing that happen. I'm glad the vice president's going to say how strongly the U.S. feels to Israel, but you've also got to get Turkey and Egypt putting pressure on Hamas from the other side to make this stick.
Also, I thought the involvement here of the Qataris was really quite fascinating.
Well, that's right. That's another one that's been a player in the whole peace process and hosting some meetings and things. And so I hope now they don't back off and consider their job done.
Did you know Steve Witkoff when he owned the Fontainebleau in Las Vegas?
I didn't. I mean, I've heard his name and maybe met him in passing, but I certainly don't know him.
Quite remarkable that completely out of the field of diplomacy and congressional representation to have two people from this industry be involved in negotiating this whole deal. Do you find that remarkable yourself?
Well, what's remarkable is that Donald Trump is just relying on his rich friends to surround him in the cabinet and in important positions, not people who really have any expertise. And that's especially true and a problem in diplomacy, because the State Department has been pretty gutted, and there's a lot of people from the State Department, longtime diplomats, who say you can't just bull in there. There's more to it than that. So I hope he can learn how to do it. Learning on the job in a situation like this is pretty difficult, but let's see where it goes.
You know, I mean, just the fact that they've gotten this far is remarkable in itself. If Saudi Arabia comes on board with financing for the reconstruction of Gaza, won't that really say a lot about the direction the Middle East is heading, and certainly in terms of Iran?
Well, you know, these battles have been going on for thousands of years, and it's hard to tell who's on first. You know, sometimes two groups are allies, and next thing you know, they're fighting each other. The friend of my friend is my friend, the enemy, you know, that old saying. And certainly that's true about Saudi Arabia and Iran in the past. We'll see who steps up to rebuild Gaza and just what the plan's going to be. Is it going to be this multinational group that's going to oversee that? Are they going to be an independent state like they talked about for so long? Is Donald Trump going to build a Riviera there, like he was talking about how it could be developed for tourism? I think there's a lot of uncertainty there as well.
All right, let's turn our attention to the Ukraine. What are your thoughts on providing Tomahawk missiles to the Ukrainians? Because my memory flashes back to the Iraq War, the first Iraq War, where, if you recall, Dan Rather was broadcasting live from Baghdad, and we saw those Tomahawk missiles going in. Those are incredibly scary weapons, and the idea of them going into Russia, what do you think the response would be?
Well, a lot of people are afraid this is going to provoke Putin more, and certainly he has told that to Trump. Now, again, you just have uncertainty because you don't know what Trump's going to do from one day to the next. He has teased Ukraine with the Tomahawk missiles, met with the president, then gets the phone call from Putin who says, don't do it. So then now he's backed off of it. I don't know how you fight a war not really knowing what your resources are or what your friends, so-called friends, are going to do. Ukraine thinks they need those missiles to attack sites within Russia because a lot of the industrial and oil sites are within range if they have those, and their hands are tied if they don't have them. Now, Trump is saying, oh, well, just stop the war where it is now and use the lines that have recently been established. That's not going to happen. Putin will want to push further, and Ukraine would have to say, oh, okay, we just give up all that we have lost. So I think, again, that's far from resolved.
All right, last international question then is China. The tariffs became 100%. Now they've backed off of that. You know, the saying is that in the United States, we play a game that's 2 to 4 years long. In China, it's generations long. How do you see it?
I think I see it exactly that way, Sam. They play the long game, and we play the short term because presidencies only last for 4 years, maybe 8, so they can look at the big picture. They also, you know, right now, the big thing with China is that they're buying soybeans from Argentina. Our farmers don't have a market. Their soybeans are rotting in the field. Trump's put these tariffs on. That hurts us. And he's bailed out Argentina, who's buying those soybeans. So this is political and economic.
All right, let's change topics here and talk about something closer to home. Brightline West announced recently that the cost of a train going from Las Vegas to Southern California has greatly increased. I mean, greatly increased. You're on transportation. What are your thoughts on that? Do you know why the cost increases come? And should the federal government be subsidizing this to a level that it seems to me no longer makes it a public-private partnership, but a government-funded project?
Well, I've been a long time supporter of Brightline, going way back to when Bob Miller first appointed me to the California Nevada Super Speed Train Commission. I think we need to not broaden I-15 because you build it, they will come. That just creates more traffic, but look for some alternative means of transportation. And so I hope that we do get that train. You're right, the increase has been great. It was kind of came out of nowhere, and it's been blamed on everything from cost of material, lack of workforce, supply chain, all the usual suspects. I am the ranking member of the Rail Subcommittee on Transportation, and we are in the process, or we were before the shutdown, of negotiating a reauthorization of the surface transportation bill. That is mostly highways, but also includes trains. So we will see kind of how the committee reacts to that increased amount of funding. Also, at the same time, the president has pulled back the funding for the California speed train that goes from Los Angeles to San Francisco. Now, it's had a lot more problems than Brightline, and it's further down the road than Brightline is. But you have to worry every day that not only will you not get the additional funding, but Trump may wake up one morning and say, well, we don't need Brightline. We don't need to help California because he's mad at Newsom, and that money could disappear.
Well, the difference for me between the two projects is that Brightline in Florida has been successful, and they continue to be successful. And so that model looked good until this massive cost increase came across. The train in California from, allegedly from San Francisco to LA, which was the original proposition, but it's become the train to nowhere. It's just a giant money pit. I mean, do you even support that in concept now?
Well, I support it in concept, but I'm not privy to all the details of the problems in California. California has more regulations than Nevada. It has higher taxes than Nevada. You have a lot more jurisdictions that you have to go through to get from Los Angeles to San Francisco, unlike here where there are not that many governments along the route. Also here you've already got an established route that you can use with following I-15. Up there, building it, I think, is a lot more complicated. So while you're right, they have had a lot of problems that Brightline hasn't experienced yet because they haven't started laying track. You look at Florida, it has been successful. There have been a lot of accidents on it, so I hope they clean that up. But so far, the president says he supports it. I support it, but I'd be glad when they start laying some, making some progress that you can see.
I'm talking about regulation in California. They're now talking about shutting down, the private companies are talking about shutting down 2 of the refineries in California. And there's conversation here in Nevada about starting to bring gasoline from Utah into Nevada. What are your thoughts on that? Because, we have been so tied to California, but every time they shut something down, even for repairs, the cost of gas goes up in Nevada. If they shut down 2 refineries permanently, aren't we in big trouble?
Yeah, well, we're in big trouble in a lot of ways, Sam. This will be another impact on tourism that you can't afford gas to drive here, on top of all the international problems. But you're right, we have high gas prices in Nevada because we don't have refineries here, and we rely on what goes on in California. So if they shut down permanently, even if they shut down for repairs, causes our prices to go up. Now, I don't know how the negotiation with Utah works, if that would be cheaper, faster, more expensive. We'll have to wait and see, but it's certainly something that you need to watch.
All right, let's take a break. We'll come back more with Congresswoman Dina Titus after this time out.
Pro Group Management specializes in providing industries with the necessary components to satisfy and exceed workers' comp requirements. Every business has unique needs and specific regulations. Pro Group Management stays ahead of the curve, providing up-to-date services to keep your industry in top form. Discover how we simplify your tasks, improve efficiency, and reduce expense to keep you moving in a positive direction. Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Like a traditional handmade basket, retail is woven into the fabric of life in Nevada. From big box to mom and pop, retail supports our communities in countless ways. jobs for the disabled, team uniforms for kids, help for the elderly, and so much more. Retail employs over 1 in 10 workers. Retail supports Nevada, and we support retail.
RANNV.org.
The Nevada Builders Alliance has been protecting the interests of the construction industry for over 50 years. Our programs save members thousands of dollars every year and allow them to provide much-needed benefits to their employees. Our industry also allows Nevada to grow. If you're thinking about a career in the construction industry, reach out. And if you haven't thought of a career in construction, what are you waiting for? We are the Nevada Builders Alliance.
The trucking industry is the most resilient link in the supply chain. And for over 90 years, the Nevada Trucking Association has been the voice for the men and women in the trucking industry. From Carson City to Washington, D.C., we advocate for policies to protect our trucking companies and keep commerce flowing. Because Nevada's and America's prosperity is tied to trucks. There's nothing without trucking.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Congresswoman Dina Titus of CD1. You are the co-chair of the Cannabis Caucus. Are we going to see at some point federal legalization of marijuana?
Well, this has been a disappointment. During the campaign, Donald Trump talked, especially in Florida, when that ballot initiative was being considered, about how he would deschedule marijuana or reschedule it, but he was certainly sympathetic. Once he got in office, though, you haven't seen much progress. In fact, the deregulation that had started under Biden has just been stopped, and certain members of his cabinet have been very against marijuana. So again, another uncertainty for state regulation, for our local businesses. What's he going to do? In the meantime, you've got state by state putting this in place through referendum or through their legislatures. So a majority of the states have legalized marijuana, either for medical reasons or recreation. And now it's even moving into, like here in Nevada, having clubs where you could go. You don't just have to smoke it at home. So I hope he does, and it would make some sense to do it. There's legislation that's been introduced to move it forward, but it's not just deregulating. You could re-regulate it and regulate it like you regulate alcohol, or there are other things you can do. For example, I have a bill to allow universities to do research. Right now, they're really restricted on being able to do research if they depend on federal money. Or allowing banking, banks are regulated federally, so they can't take marijuana money and they have to just store it in a can in the backyard. That's not good for safety or for being able to oversee the industry and tax it. And a big one, especially, is for veterans. Veterans want to use cannabis as a way to deal with PTSD and pain management. Everybody admits that that works, and yet the VA can't even talk about it to our veterans. So there are a lot of pieces to this that we need to move forward, if not total deregulation.
There was a lot of talk a little while back about the lands bill, and especially with Congressman Amodei getting involved in that. Where are we now as far as that goes? Because, despite all the back and forth, it's very important for Las Vegas especially to be, we need lands bills in Northern Nevada as well, but for Las Vegas, for housing and the cost of housing, where are we at this point?
Well, we do need to grow, but we need to grow in a sustainable way. And that would include, as one piece, having more access to land. Now, land is not going to be the silver bullet for bringing down the cost of housing, because this is an issue all around the country, high cost of housing and unavailability of accessible, affordable housing. And the problem of land does not exist all around the country. So that you got to keep that in perspective. I support a lands bill, but I think it has to have several components to it. One of them is it's got to bring developers to the table to pay a share of the infrastructure that's going to be needed to stretch out and serve this new development. You got to have roads, streets, pipes, schools, police. Somebody's got to pay for that. Second, and very important, is the water situation. We are in a drought situation. You saw the disagreement over the use of the Colorado River. They couldn't even come to an agreement because the northern states on the Colorado use so much of that water for agriculture, and California sucks up so much of it, and poor little Nevada here never dreamed we'd have all these people to serve in southern Nevada, and we didn't get our fair share. So unless you put some caps in there that development has to stop when you reach a certain water level and tie it to that water availability, I think you're making a big mistake. And what's happened is a lot of this negotiation has been done in the back room of the senator's office, and this one wants this, and then this one wants this, and this one wants this, and nobody is sitting down all together to come up with a solution.
But in the end, doesn't that mean that the federal government, the Interior Department, is going to apply a solution?
Well, the solution that I fear the most that is coming from this administration is selling off our public lands. That was a part of the Amadei bill, to sell the public lands, and they would take the money at the federal level because they were looking for any little pots of money they could find to pay for those big tax breaks for billionaires. Now, they backed off of that, but if they were to come again and try to sell off our public lands and take the money, not even give the money back to Nevada like we have now under SNPLMA, that would be the worst solution.
And do you think that's likely to happen?
Well, I don't know what this administration will try to do. I mean, they've done so many outrageous things that you have to watch. Bennett, and is it Bennett from Utah who was pushing some of this?
Yes. Okay. All right. Well, let's take another break, and we'll be back with a few more topics after this time out.
Welcome to Story County, where history meets innovation and a pioneering spirit continues to shape our future. At the heart of the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, we power the future with global leaders in technology and manufacturing, driving progress that reaches far beyond our county lines. From advanced manufacturing to tech innovation, our industries are creating thousands of quality careers, fueling a vibrant economy that benefits every Nevadan. Our community is our foundation. Be part of a legacy built on bold ideas and boundless possibilities. Story County, helping build Nevada's future.
No tricks, just treats at the Carson Valley Inn during the $100,000 Monster Pirate Treasure giveaways. Thousands in cash and free play giveaways every week. A monstrous $25,000 in guaranteed grand prize giveaways. Don't ghost these giveaways. Halloween awaits at the Carson Valley Inn.
A power line is more than a power line. It's maintaining the bottom line for small businesses. It's keeping the assembly line moving for our workforce. For our brightest minds, it's meeting a deadline. It's on the front line with our heroes. And on the sidelines of the biggest games. It's a direct line to our loved ones. And it's a lifeline for the most vulnerable. There's a lot on the line.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Congresswoman Dina Titus of CD1. You wanted to clear up something real quick.
Yeah, thank you, Sam. I misspoke. It's not Senator Bennett. He's the Democrat. It's Senator Lee from Utah. I want to make that clear.
All right. Let's talk about what has been promoted as the Vegas slowdown. But I think to a lot of us who watch these things very closely, really what we're dealing with more than anything is a comparison to last year when Las Vegas had the Super Bowl and many other events that were huge. And so the comp between last year and this year was pretty tough. What's your take on this?
Well, that's true. And you're fixing to have the big race is coming up. F1 is coming up in a few weeks. So that'll bring some more people in. But I think the comparison is longer term than just last year. And you are seeing it because of inflation. You're seeing it especially internationally, Sam, with all the things that are going on that kind of threaten people at the border. They don't know what to expect. The new visa fees that have been added. the rhetoric that comes from the administration against our friends. You know, Canada is our biggest source of visitors, and that's down about 30%. So that makes a huge difference. And, you know, the Canadians are so nice, it's hard to piss them off, and they're mad, and you can't really blame them.
Well, I've never heard it quite put that way, but yes, you are right on that. But I mean, long term, you know, I mean, like you said, we've got Formula One coming up. We've got NFR coming up right behind that. You've got the conventions, CES and all the others coming in the first quarter. You've got Bill Hornbuckle from MGM saying, hey, our convention bookings are solid going forward. I agree, obviously, that the international business is being cut back, but are you seeing long-term negatives for Las Vegas?
You know, Las Vegas is the most resilient place in the world. We've bounced back from a lot of crises, but also economically, when things are hit hard, we are hit first, and it takes us longer to recover. So I think look at the casinos that had the 5-day sale to try to get more people here. They don't want to admit things are bad. Of course, nobody wants to say that, but they are starting to do things to address that. And I think they have to be realistic. You can't charge $25 for a bottle of water and expect people to come back, or $50 to park. So I think they're reassessing the notion of Las Vegas being a bargain, because that's how it used to be seen, and not so much anymore.
Okay, so quick answer to this. Are you having conversations with the industry leaders and saying that to them?
Yes, I co-chair the gaming caucus, and so I have a lot of conversations with the gaming leaders. And it's not just about that; it's about some of the issues that are impacting the gamers, like that tax bill that I have, where you get taxed on. You get to write off only 90% of your losses, not 100%. That's making gamblers think, well, we'll gamble overseas, or we'll gamble offline in the black market, and that can't help either. So it's lots of little pieces that need to come together.
And sadly, that's where we have to leave it. It is always a pleasure to talk to you, my friend. Please come back soon.
Oh, ask me anytime, Sam. It's my pleasure.
Thank you, and we'll be right back.
Each day, the Children's Advocacy Alliance partners with leaders, legislators, and families across Nevada to improve children's health, education, economic well-being, and safety. We recognize Nevada will be no better than the state of its children. Be a part of this change. Be a supporter of the Children's Advocacy Alliance. For more information, go to caanv.org.
Meet Nevada Health Link, Nevada's official health insurance marketplace. Your link to savings, selection, free assistance, and name brand health insurance, where 90% of enrollees lower the cost of their monthly premium. Everyone deserves access to quality health coverage, no matter your income or family size. Visit NevadaHealthLink.com. A few minutes could save you hundreds of dollars per month.
Nevada Health Link. Our plans are made for your plans.
Welcome to the Ahern Boutique Hotel, where luxury and warmth come together in the heart of Las Vegas.
We take pride in offering a one-of-a-kind experience for both locals and tourists.
Join us for handcrafted cocktails and an unforgettable experience.
Joel's Chop House, the perfect place to savor views of the Las Vegas Strip.
Satisfy your cravings at the Ahern Chocolate Shop.
No smoking, no resort fees, and the parking is always free. The Ahern Luxury Boutique Hotel is your home away from home.
We wouldn't steer you wrong with the gold standard of steaks at Joel's Chop House. Indulge in dry-aged steaks, seafood, Wagyu tomahawks, and great views of the Strip.
You can always watch Nevada Newsmakers 24 hours a day at NevadaNewsmakers.com. Thanks for watching and listening.